we're going to go ahead and cover some other functions inside of Traktor Scratch that's unique to Traktor. The segment that we're going to cover next is effects processors and other DJ tricks that you can do with Traktor. Okay, so inside of Traktor, we have a series of different effects processors that you can choose from. Some of the ones that we're going to go over today, let me go ahead and take this track up to the beginning. You can drop down this menu, as you can see up here in my detail section, which I've customized myself. I've inserted up to 4 different effects processors, one's focused for each individual deck. I have one for deck A, one for B, one for C, and one for D. Inside these effects processors, we have effects like low pass, band pass, high pass filters, as well as delays, reverbs, flangers, and beat mashers. We'll go ahead and show you some of these effects, which I find to be really cool. I'm going to go ahead and go back to this Hell Yeah Velcro track and drop that in. Now, we'll go ahead and play with the delay right now. With the delay processor, you have different types of timings, 1/4 all the way up to 3/16, 1/8, and so on, so on. Right now I'm going to go ahead and put it on 1/4, and we'll hit the quantize button. What the quantize does is it allows the BPM to sync up perfectly with each individual track. And I'll go ahead and turn the delay on with the on button, and go ahead and add some delays to that right there. Now, another really cool thing about the delays is it allows you to have this freeze button, and the freeze button is extremely helpful for seamless looping. For instance, I can go ahead and add some delay in there, and once I hit the freeze button, you can see that the delay freezes, and then I can go ahead with the frequency knob and add like a high pass filter to it, so that when I turn it up, you can hear it slowly coming in and out of the track. And that's really cool for outros when you're in the middle of a mix or something like that. Bring it back in. And also being able to manipulate the times of the delays is actually really cool too. And go ahead and turn up the delay knob and maybe play with the speeds a little bit. So let's go ahead and move on to maybe reverb delays now. I'm sorry, just reverbs, not reverb delays. Now with the reverb, what I like to do is actually turn the size of the reverb all the way, and maybe the amount at about 50%, cut a little bit of my low end because I have kind of an EQ here, and turn up the highs a bit. And I like to just maybe throw in a couple dabs of audio into the reverb a little bit. That gives you like a really spacious like blowout, and you can actually modulate that reverb size to get like a really cool pitch bending effect. Flangers work very similar in a certain way, where it's just like a basic flanger where I can turn it on, turn up the amounts. As well as a beat masher, which is an extremely unique tool to Traktor. I'm going to go ahead and drop in a different track, something that has a vocal, so that you can kind of hear the difference in this. You can cut this out, right? All that stuff. Ready. So the next track I'm going to load up is The Stick Up by Samuel L. Sessions, which is right here in my deck. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in there. Now, this track has a really cool vocal in the beginning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set a loop point, like a 4-beat loop. That way when I play this track, it's just going to play that vocal over and over and over again. Now I'm going to go ahead and select the beat masher. And with the beat masher, I have 4 different parameters to play with. Basically, I have my time parameter or length. I can select maybe the length to 1/8, for instance. And if I turn up the amount, what it's doing is it's sampling a certain segment of that individual track. And I can go ahead and play with that sample. For instance, the gate knob, we'll go ahead and add a gate to that track. And then when I play with the rock knob, basically what that's doing is taking different slices of that particular sample and being able to move them around. There's a lot of possibilities that you can do with the Beat Masher and being able to slice up individual tracks and do some really crazy innovative stuff. Let's go ahead and move on to some other stuff. Loops, for instance, in Traktor is an extremely cool thing because I can go ahead and drop a track in. And it doesn't matter when I hit the button or where I hit it, I can actually just tap the loop button and it'll automatically set a loop point to the designated length that I set it to. For instance, right now I have it set to 4 beats. So I can just tap that and I get a 4-beat loop, which is actually really cool because I can actually take a loop from that particular track and then maybe load up another track that I like to the next deck and have this in the track. So now I got 2 tracks playing, and I can change the loop length, for instance, on this track to maybe 2 beats. Move it up to 1 beat if I want to. And I can do the same thing on this deck. Drop a loop in there, drop that down to maybe 1 beat, half beat. It's really cool because if you can go ahead and assign that loop to a MIDI controller and be able to manipulate it, you can do some really crazy build-ups and stuff like that with it using the loop lengths. Just skip over a little bit further in the track. So being able to take segments and loops of individual tracks, especially with 4 decks, then you can go ahead and open up 4 decks and set different loop points and do mashup mixes on the fly as you go. So this concludes the end of our effects processing and DJ tricks with the tools, and we'll go ahead and move on to something else.